And we are back with another very special Boss Buzz Between the Cheeks Brunetti Bionicle Bonanza.
Yep. Good old bonk between the cheeks.
Bonk between the cheeks.
Yeah. And welcome back, everybody. We don't have a guest this week. If you didn't notice, we kind of shoot these in advance now to like have them, so when we need a guest, we got them ready.
Yep.
If you guys, before we start, if you guys have ever had any questions or want to like ask things about Bionicle or just comment like if you like this kind of series because it's very different than what we usually do, be sure to like message us on the Synergy Nation website.
It is sinnation.net, I think, /cheeks.
Yeah, just let us know if you like it. It gives us good feedback as well as like it is complicated and I'm kind of skimming through a lot of shit. So if you want to know more, I can either answer questions or like give you access to that. If you want to buy Bionicles, I can give you some links or some people to talk to because it's a huge community out there.
Yeah, please give us feedback. We would love to hear it, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So we're gonna get going. We just got through the first movie basically. The Toe of Light, Taku Nuba is part of the group. They fucked up Makuta, and they just kind of like got separated from the island of Matanui and are kind of underneath it, and like we're trying to reawaken Matanui, the spirit, which is like their kind of god basically, and the universe. Their god and the universe are the same thing, kind of like Buddhism, which is fun. But they basically tried to waken him up, and they opened up this chamber to this underground area, and it's like this ocean of protoderm or protodermis, which is like the magic kind of liquid there, and just like it has its own solar system and stars like underneath this island that they've been living in, like this vast giant area, like bigger than the island itself.
That's
like
crazy.
This chamber underneath, and the Turaga kind of look up with Turaga Vakam at the front. He's like, okay, well, we've kind of been lying to you this whole time, like this, like, we're all from this place. No one remembers but us six. But like 1,000 years ago, we migrated from this city, which you can see in the back, and like the kind of skyline of this underground ocean is like, this is the actual home of the Matorans, and we moved out here. And there's also other Toas. Like, there's not just the sick. There's other Toas that happened before, and let me just tell you a story. And kind of,
oh my god,
Toa Vakama kind of sits down and is like, yeah, well, let me tell you a story. And this is like kind of a flashback, rewind 1,000 years plus, to the city of Metro Nui. So Matanui is the place they live in, the god. Metro Nui is this old place. It's basically kind of like in Star Wars, they have that like city planet kind of place, Coruscant or whatever.
Yeah.
In the Bionicle universe, they have this giant like continent-sized city called Metro Nui, and it's underneath this place, and it's like the hub. It is like the center for the Matorans. It's fully like a metropolis. It's like Metro kind of thing. And they have like each kind of area is like a different city of the group. So like they have the Fire City that like is the Forge. They build other Matorans. They build the masks and stuff for them. They build stuff and then they send them over to the Poe area, which is the like rock area that like shapes it and crafts it into like things. They basically, each one of these cities that was like a village out there is now like part of this big industry. And we start out with a Matoran sitting there working on a mask. He's like a master mask maker, and this is the Matoran Vakama. So it's the same guy as the Turaga Vakama, but he's a different shape. He's a different form of himself as a Matoran working on some masks. And in this Metro Nui, there's one Toa at this point, and his name is Toa Lekon. And he's just got a golden mask, and he's like two giant swords that he turns into a surfboard that he can fly on the air with. Like, he's just fucking super all-star like superhero of this area. But there's no other Toas. This is one Toa that's just like kind of protects the city. And they also have only one Turaga, who is Turaga Duma, who is like kind of red and black, like kind of spooky looking. Like, you kind of think he's a bad guy because he's kind of a bad guy. And he kind of bursts. So Turaga Vakama kind of bursts into this workshop of Traga Duma bursts into this workshop for Vakama the Matoran as he's building the mask, and he's like, "Hey, I have a real special order because you're like the most renowned mask maker of this area. I need you to make me a mask of time." And he's like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Figure it out." And Vakama's kind of a bitch boy, and he's like, "Yes, sir, whatever you want." And then he leaves and goes, "Fuck, how am I gonna do that?" Like, oh no, like he's just like a kind of a little bitch boy, like he's always complaining, always whining, always like just being a dumb nerd. And so he's like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know how to make a fucking mask of time. Like that's like the most OP mask I could ever make. How would I know how to do that?" And as he's kind of freaking out, Toa Lecon bursts into his workshop and just like kind of is like frantic and like beat up and like hurt, and he's like, "Dude, here's this package." He's like, go to the basically church or the temple, and like you need to save the heart of Matanui. Like fucking figure it out."
Wow.
And then in burst these two bad guys. One of them looks like a kind of a gorilla man who's just kind of dumb and just like has like similar mask to Kopaka with like the little microscope eye and stuff. And then Nadiki, who's one of my favorite Bionicles, and I am bidding on him on an eBay right now.
Hey.
So don't bid on him because I will be mad at you, but Nadiki's one of my favorites. He's like a spider centaur. Like he's got like the body of a spider with like the legs and like green and like spiky, and then like the body of more of like a Toa with like two kind of pincher arms and this like snake. It kind of looks like these kind of faces. Like it's got like pointed kind of like snake-like features, but a little different. And they burst in and like are chasing after Lee Khan, who like gets Vakama out of the way and like fights these guys off, but then he doesn't find out what happens. He kind of just dips and runs away. And so Vakama's like, "Okay, well, I got to go to this temple," and he opens this package. Sorry, he doesn't know where he needs to go, actually. He actually just opens this package, and in the middle is this, like, weird stone. It looks like the same stone that we saw with Takua when it was, like, at the beginning of the first movie. And he's like, "Oh, this is weird." And then inside, in the wrapping itself is a map that directs him to, like, the ocean, or the water cities area. Water Metro, which is Ga Metro. But you don't need to know that. That's just dumb terminology. He kind of gets into this temple and gets into like this underground kind of cavern, and there he finds 5 other Matoran, a Matoran of water, earth. It's Vakama, Nakama, Onua, Matau, and one other. But you don't even know the names. Basically one of each color. And of course the girl is blue, and there is only one. There at least one woman, but it's only one woman. But actually, the first arc of Bionicle, like up until this point, has broken the what's the test for like women in like in a movie or whatever, the one test, whatever. Like the movie, the test for like movies and literature that like if 2 women talk to each other, not about a man. The whole first arc covers that because you have the Taraga of Water's girl and the Toa of Water's girl talk about like shit all the time. But in this one, yeah, you just have the one girl, it's a girl. And they basically all have these stones, and they walk up to this big shrine, and they're all just like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, Vakama's like a mask maker. You got Nakama, the blue, who's a teacher. You have Matau, who's the green, who's like a race car driver, so it's like tests like inventions and shit. Like he tests like hover bikes and like these tubes that they travel through and stuff, kind of like Futurama style. You have Onua, which is the rock or earth, which is black. He's like an archivist. Like he works in this giant like archive that has like huge, like the biggest museum you ever seen, and each has like all these displays and like artifacts of like past and like also like insects or animals or rahi and stuff like that. It's just like this huge archive that he works at. You have the white guy who is kind of like a seer. He looks at the stars to like kind of dictate the future and stuff. So basically, yeah, you have them all. They're all doing their own separate jobs, and they're all coming up and they're like, "Why the fuck am I here?" And they see in this shrine weird shapes, and there's like 6 of them, and it looks exactly like the shape of their stones. And they're like, "Oh!" And they put their stones in, and boom, we have masks fall out. Like masks, like the thing kind of breaks apart, and there's 6 masks, one of each color, and each of them's like, "Holy shit, these are Kanohi, like magic masks, like the masks of the toe and stuff." And they're like, fuck, and they all put them on, and they transform, into the Toa Metru.
Ooh.
So Vakama, and then they kind of break away, and Taruga Vakama is telling the stories like, yeah, like that's the life cycle of the Matoran. The Matoran, if they are destined to, they transform into Toa, and then eventually transform into Turaga. We don't know really why or how they transform into Turaga yet, but we know that that's kind of the life cycle at this point. And so, like, yeah, I was once a Toa. That's why I was being so fucking cryptic. And also, Takua should be really pissed because he could have literally just said, Takua, put that mask on. Because he knows where they come from. Yeah. And he was like, it's obviously his shit. But Vakama's like, you gotta go around the whole island. And literally my whole island is destroyed because I didn't tell you. But yeah, anyways, that's something a lot of the bonk community gets mad at, is how the fucking Turaga are just super cryptic about everything when they could just be honest. But they have to lie for reasons. Like, it doesn't really make sense. But anyway, so yeah, they transform into the Toa Metru, and they all have their own like weapons, and some of them have these cool things. I don't have any of the Metru because I'm not really a big fan of their designs, but I do have a bunch of their masks of some of them and stuff. But yeah, basically they're cool, a little more streamlined. They have these. A lot of them have weapons that have like long, like really long, but like flimsy, like almost like chains, but like sturdy, like stiff chains and stuff. Like the water. Nakama has like these large like anchors that like spread out real far from hers. Actually, these are the weapons for the ice guy. They're kind of like, you can make them into ice shoes and also like use them as like picks to climb. But I put it on this guy because I didn't have the actual swords for him. But so they transform into these guys and like, holy shit, we're Toa now. But they're not nearly as powerful as the original Toa. Like, they can barely access their elemental powers, and they have no access to their mask powers. Like the old Toa, like this one had mask of extra vision, one had mask of shielding, super speed, super strength. They don't have any access to their mask powers, so they're just kind of like beta Toa. Like they're Toa because they're huge and they have like weapons and they can kind of use the elements, but they're really kind of like fucked up. They're not as cool as they need to be. And I'm like, oh shit! It's like, well, we need, like, we're the Toa now. Like, what do we need to do? And so at the same time this was going on, there was this like plant. Like this monster plant, I forgot the name. It starts with an M, and it's basically these vines would shoot out with all these thorns, like at the edges of Metro Nui, and like fuck everything up that was around them, and push kind of everyone more into the city, as they would just like vine out like randomly, and they didn't know where this was coming from. No one knew what was going on, and the only Toa there is Lee Khan, and he's kind of doing his own thing and actually disappeared at this point. They do have so because there's no Toa to protect the city. There are these robotic kind of cops, basically, which are the Vahi, which are basically cops. So, like, I'm an AVAB kind of guy. All Vahi are bastards. Because they literally are kind of like just robots that, like, follow the letter of the law and, like, protect the elites and just, like, kind of fuck everyone over. And just, like, if you're breaking a law, they will fucking kill you or imprison you. Like, even if it's not really a law, but a robot would say it's a law. Like, it's terrifying. So they're kind of the protectors, but no one's really fighting off these vines that keep breaking out everywhere. And so the Toa are like, well, we need to figure out how to defeat this. I know it starts with an M. Whatever. We're calling it the tree because I can't remember the name. So this tree just like bursts out these vines and roots all over the place and is fucking people up. And the Toa are like, well, we need to stop this. And Vakama, who is the fire guy, who's like the main character of this arc, he's like, he gets these weird visions. Like, he gets visions of this tree, and that the fact that he needs 6 discs, Kanohi discs. So the masks in the Bionicle universe are made out of these discs. You can put them in certain characters and shoot them. Some of them are like the magic discs are like a little more special, but like every mask is made out of a disc. And that's kind of what he does, is he builds masks. And he's like, he has this vision where he's like, I need to assemble the 6 like great masks to defeat this tree. And so they were like, okay, we got to go figure it out. And he, in his vision, he's like, there's 6 Matoran that know where these masks are, or these discs are. We need to meet with them and figure it out. I'm like, okay, let's all go our separate ways. And meanwhile, we cut to Nadiki, the green spider dude, who's like the bad guy, and he's talking to one of these Matoran, and it's like, fucking give me these discs or I'll fucking kill you. And like, we know these Toa are gonna go after him, so we need you to fuck them up, sabotage, do what you can, like, come on, like, and so they're like, oh, he's like, okay, whatever, fuck, just don't fucking kill me, and we'll pay you, whatever, and so they go looking out for the masks, or the discs, and for some reason, like, fate, I guess, every one of the Toa has, like, an intimate connection with the Matoran, and they hate each other. Like, Vakama goes to his guy, and he's, like, a rival mask maker, and he heard that Toa Doom wants him to make the time mask, but he didn't ask him to make it. And he's like, "Fuck you, dude." He's like, "You're a Toa. You're a better mask maker. Why would I give you the this is the only thing that makes me special was this great disc.
Yeah.
Like, why would I give you the coordinates or tell you how to get this?" And he's like, "Come on, dude. Like, you're gonna get fucking killed." And he's like, "What?" He's like, "There's some bad people coming out after this. Like, there's this giant spider dude. You don't want to fuck with it." And they get kind of fucked with that. And it basically, I mean, I could go into more detail, but it's kind of a fetch quest because a lot of early Bionicle is fetch quest because it's a toy line. So like, you have things to collect. That's something you can sell. You know. So they had like 6 Matoran. Each one of them had their own package, and you could buy them for like $5. But and they had their own disc and everything. And like basically each one went out, and for some reason they were all like, fuck you to their Matorans and Toas because like they had some feud, but they eventually are able to control, get them together, and they're like trying to figure out where to get these discs, and they all go off on like they pair off and go on their adventures and try to collect the discs. Nadiki comes at one point and tries to fuck someone up. There's like some natural disaster areas where Matau, the green guy, has to like dive out of this pipe before things explode. Kind of fun, but just like simple and doesn't really matter. Like, so they end up collecting all 6 of these discs, and they're like, okay, well, we need to get to this tree because it's been slowly just like the outskirts of the city have been like closing in as it's just like forcing everyone into the center. And the tree had its own little dialogue where it's like, I've been ordered, like, my destiny is to gather everyone into the center and like fuck shit up, basically. And they realize that this that they fought a couple times. Vakama himself was like, every time I shoot this thing with fire, it grows. Like, it gets better whenever I heat it up. So it's like, I think it uses fire to its like it's that's like its life force or what it uses. It's like, so where would this thing be? It's like, well, probably because they were looking for like the center, like the root, and like, where would this root be? It's got to be somewhere in the city. Like, what has to be in the forgery, because that's where the big furnace is. That's where like most Matoran aren't even allowed in there because it's so hot and it will like melt people. And so they're like, well, that's definitely where it has to be growing from. So they finally make the way into this big central area, and they see this giant root just growing out and just like talking to them. It's like, fuck you, like, you can't beat me. And he just like has like these giant spiraling roots just coming out and like shooting thorns and fucking him up. And the 6 Matoran kind of transform into one giant dude and like fight back, like shooting discs and stuff at it and like slamming at it. But they get fucked too. And then the guy's like, you can't fucking handle me, like, fuck. And they're just like freaking out. And they're like, you're no good you're not going to be heroes, but you will be good slaves. And they're just like, oh shit. And he's like just basically fucking him up. But they eventually use the 6 discs, and they're like, even shooting the disc at the thing isn't doing anything. Like, what the hell? It's like, we need to cut it off from its source. So instead of shooting the disc at the tree, they shoot it at the actual furnace and like seal it off from the tree. And the tree itself's like, shit, I don't have my life force, and it starts to shrink, and then they are able to like mow it down and fuck it up to the point where they can control it, and it kind of fades away, and it's like, and like the one that's last was like, I failed you, master, I'm sorry. Like, who the fuck is this master? Like, what the fuck's going on? And they're able to save the day. This is kind of a side note. Vakama after that is like, these discs are powerful. He's like, I think I could use these discs to make that mask. And so he, during this kind of part, makes the Mask of Time. Like, it's a big whole thing, but he's able to form this mask and like puts it in like his back pocket. It's like, okay, this is something that is gonna fucking ruin some lives. Like, I don't even know if I should give this to Duma. Like, this is fucking terrifying. But yeah, so they end up defeating the tree. And it's like, okay, well, we're actually Matoran. We're actually Toa now. Like, we've fucked up this big threat. True. We have elemental powers. Like, we don't know our mass powers yet, but we're cool. Like, just like kind of puffing themselves up and like, well, let's go introduce ourselves. Like, let's go show the world that we are here. And that's where we're gonna end for this episode.
Wow.
What's gonna happen next? We don't know, but the Toa Metru are here. Vakama's a lying piece of shit, but he's also a baby bitch, but he's also the hero for some reason. I don't like this this arc as much because it's more focused on just Vakama than like the other series. Like you read the comics or you read the books, like it gives more fleshed out all the other characters and they're kind of fun, interesting personalities. But this one kind of focuses a lot more on Vakama. I mean, you still have some of that stuff. Like he has a big rivalry with the black guy, Anua. As like Anua's like, you're a fucking pussy ass bitch. Like shut up. He's like, I know what I'm doing. Like I'm well read. I've been working in this fucking art, like this library for so long, or this archivy, whatever you call it. But yeah, it's still good though, and it really builds it sets a lot of the framework for like the really deep, interesting, fun shit that comes after this. But like this is like kind of like the groundwork. Like after you get past Toa Metru, real shit comes down. But like it's still pretty fun.
I did not expect that twist with them living under there. Like, oh, we're actually from here.
Yeah, like we moved here 1,000 years ago. No one knows but us, Taraga, and we were Toa. So sorry, we used to be really cool.
Oh my goodness,
it's fun.
Wow. Well, like we said at the beginning, let us know in the comments or on SinNation.net/cheeks. Give us some feedback, questions, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Yeah, keep it real.